The sky turned red, not from the setting sun, from fire. The clouds were heavy and dark, shaking with sound. A strange light flashed again and again. Something was falling from the sky. Something big. The aliens had never seen this before. Then came the thunder. Not the thunder of storms, but the thunder of ships. Metal ships. Ships that broke the air with loud screams. They were not natural. They were not of this world. The aliens ran to the hills, to their homes, to the caves. The children cried. The elders whispered the old stories. Stories from a time long ago. A time when the stars had burned and the ground had cracked. They are back. The elders said, the monsters from the sky. No one knew what these monsters really looked like. Some said they had sharp metal skin. Others said they had glowing, red eyes. But one thing was always the same. Where they walked, life stopped. Now, the monsters had returned. They landed with fire. Flames spread across the empty field. Trees turned to ash. The ground shook like it was afraid. The ships opened. Slowly. Steam hissed. The air grew cold. Then, silence. Not a bird, not a breath. Only fear. From inside the ships. Something stepped out. Tall. Silent. Covered in strange armor. The aliens watched from far away. Hidden behind rocks and trees. They dared not breathe. Their skin turned pale. Their hearts pounded. What did the monsters want? They didn't speak. Not at first. They didn't look around. They just stood still, scanning the land. Machines buzzed around them, floating like little eyes. Then they moved. Not like animals, not like machines. Something in between. They walked with purpose, like they had been here before. Like they knew what they were looking for. One small alien. Boy peeked from behind a tree, his eyes wide, his fingers shaking. He saw one of the monsters kneel down, not to attack, not to dig, but to pick up a small, broken flower. The boy blinked. The monster stared at the flower, then gently placed it back. This confused the boy. Monsters don't care about flowers. Monsters don't touch anything softly, right? The boy said nothing. He ran back to his village. Monsters are here, he said. Did they hurt you? His mother asked. No, but they looked at a flower. No one believed him. That night, the sky stayed red. The ships glowed in the distance. The monsters built strange things. Tall towers, lights that didn't burn, boxes that made humming sounds. The aliens stayed hidden, watching every move. The next morning, something strange happened. A small group of alien farmers came to check the damage to their land. Their crops were gone, burned to dust. Their tools were broken. Their water well was cracked. One of them saw something near the field. A bag. Left by the monsters. Inside it. Seeds, water bottles, and shiny tools. Tools better than anything they had ever used. Why would monsters leave gifts? The elders said it was a trick. Don't touch their things, they warned. This is how they hunt. But some younger ones thought differently. What if they're not monsters? One asked. Stories can be wrong. The elders grew angry. They remembered what happened long ago. Before the sky was safe. Before the world was quiet. They destroyed a planet once, an old one said. I saw it. I saw the fire from the stars. These creatures are dangerous, but no one had seen them attack. Not yet. Then came the sound. Late at night, a scream echoed through the village. A child, lost, trapped near the human base. She had wandered too far. The aliens panicked. They were afraid to go near, but someone else did. From the shadows, a figure moved, a tall one, not an alien, one of them. Human. The child looked up in fear. The human didn't speak. He knelt down, held out a small, blinking light. The girl was too scared to take it. So he put it on the ground and stepped back. She picked it up. It was warm and soft, and made a happy sound. Then, carefully, the human stood up and walked away, slow, peaceful, careful not to scare her. The child ran back home, holding the light. She said only one thing. They helped me. Asterisk, the girl said. They helped me. But her words were not a comfort. They were a warning. To the village elders, it meant danger. To the soldiers, it meant invasion. And to the people, it meant confusion. Why would monsters help a child? No one had an answer, only fear. The humans did not speak. They did not send messages. They made no demands, but they stayed. Each day, they built more. Machines rose from the ground like metal trees. Lights glowed in strange colors. Drones buzzed like insects in the sky. From far away, the aliens watched. The bravest among them crept close to the edges, hiding behind stones and trees. They saw the humans move in groups. Always silent, always working. Never smiling. Monsters with a mission. The alien leaders met deep underground. A war table was lit with blue fire, maps of the area, reports, old records from the first time the monsters came, hundreds of years ago. They are preparing, one elder said. They want control, said another. No, whispered the war captain. They want something more dangerous. Trust, that was the real fear now. Weapons, not ships. But kindness. The humans were feeding animals, fixing broken fences, cleaning rivers. No one understood why. And that was the most terrifying part. Asterisk A. Small alien patrol moved through the dark forest near the human camp. 5 soldiers, silent, nervous. Their mission. Get closer. Find out what the humans are really doing. They wore shadow suits and heat masks. Their leader, the youngest son of an elder, gave hand signs. Move left. Watch for lights. They approached the edge of the human zone. What they saw. Froze. Then in place. Children. Alien children. Inside the camp. Sitting near a glowing circle of heat. One human stood beside them, showing how to use a tool. A simple cutting device, safer and sharper than anything the aliens had. The patrol leader whispered, "What is this?" The youngest soldier, still a teen, whispered back, "They're teaching them." What? The human smiled and gave the child a strange fruit. The child bit into it, laughed. The patrol fell back in silence. This was no war, but it was no peace either. It was something new. And no one knew what to do. Asterisk when the patrol returned. The report shook the entire council. Some were furious. "They're stealing our children," one shouted. "They're corrupting their minds," said another. But others asked a harder question. If they meant harm, why not destroy us already? Weeks had passed. The humans had all the power. Ships, weapons, technology far beyond anything the aliens had seen. But they hadn't used it. Not once. Asterisk. The alien council finally agreed. Send a spy. One who could walk among them. Someone small, fast, clever. They chose a young alien. Quiet, smart, and brave. Her mission. Enter the camp at night. Take pictures. Bring back proof. She moved like a shadow. Passed the lights under the walls into the heart of the human base. But what she found broke everything she believed. Asterisk. The humans weren't training for war. They were building shelters, purifying water, studying alien diseases. One large screen showed images of different alien planets. Cities destroyed by sickness, not war, storms, famine, poisoned skies. The humans weren't here to attack. They were here because they knew something the aliens didn't. A storm was coming. A sickness. A deadly wave that would kill millions. And the humans had come to stop it. The young spy ran back with her report, but not everyone believed her. Asterisk. The alien elders met once again. They read the report, studied the pictures, watched the videos. Some were shocked, some were silent, but one voice stood up. An old general who had fought in the last war. "They are still dangerous," he said, "even if they mean well. They are still monsters. Maybe monsters with good hearts, but monsters just the same." And then came a message, a real one, left at the edge of the forest, a small device, playing only 5 words. "We can help you survive." Now the aliens had to decide. Accept the help of the creatures they once feared, or turn them away, and face whatever danger was coming alone. The fear was no longer simple. It was cold. It came from not knowing what was right. And in the silence of the night, the girl who had once been saved by a human stood alone outside her village. She looked toward the glowing human camp. and whispered, "What if they're not monsters at all?" The sun rose slowly over the hills, casting long shadows across the alien village. But no one stepped outside. Not the farmers, not the elders, not even the children. Everyone was waiting, waiting for an answer, waiting for a decision. The message, left by the humans, was still playing on a loop. "We can help you survive." Those words echoed in the minds of every alien. Some saw it as a trick, others saw it as a chance, but most of them just didn't know what to feel anymore. Fear had lived inside them for generations. It was passed down like a story, like a rule, like a warning. And now that fear was starting to change into something worse. Dot 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 was quiet. It didn't scream. It whispered. It crept in while you slept. It touched your thoughts. It made you question the stories you believed your whole life. And that's what was happening. Because one child had lived. She had been sick, dying. Nothing was working. Her parents were ready to bury her. But then they had done something desperate. They carried her, wrapped in blankets, covered in herbs, to the edge of the human zone. They placed her gently on the ground, and then they ran. They left her there. They thought they had killed her, but they didn't. A few hours later, a drone carried her inside. The humans did not hide what they were doing. In fact, they placed lights outside as if to say, "You're welcome to watch." No one came close, but many stood on the ridges at night, looking down. Silent dot inside the human base. The girl was put on a soft table. The machines beeped, tools hummed. Strange liquids were placed into her veins. Heat surrounded her. Clean air was pumped into her. Lungs dot, and for 2 days, no one moved from her side. Not a single human left the room. One watched her. Heartbeat. One wrote notes. One held her hand. They didn't speak the alien language. They didn't need to. The way they moved, the way they worked, it said everything. They were fighting for her. On the third day, her eyes opened. Her voice was small, weak, and cracked like dry leaves. But she spoke. One word. Safe. The humans didn't cheer. They didn't clap. They simply nodded, as if they were expecting this. As if this was why they had come. That same night, they carried her outside and placed her gently near the village path. Then they stepped back. Her parents ran to her, fell to their knees, held her close. She was breathing. Smiling. Alive. That moment broke something inside. The village. Not in a bad way, but in a deep way. Something old. Something heavy. For so long, they had only known fear of the outside. Fear of other beings. Fear of the sky. But now, they had touched something else. Hope. And hope is a dangerous thing, because once it touches you, you start to ask questions. If one child could be saved. Could others? If humans had this power, what else could they do? And if monsters had saved a child, were they monsters at all? Not everyone liked these questions. The council argued all night. Words turned into shouting. Elders slammed their hands on the table. Younger voices refused to stay silent. And in the middle of this chaos, a sound was heard outside. Footsteps. Small ones. Several. The guards rushed to the village gates and opened them. 7 alien children stood there. All from different families. All silent. All holding small blinking lights. Gifts left by the humans during the last storm. The children had walked through the dark alone. No one had sent them. No one had forced them. They came because they wanted to. One of them looked up and said, "We feel safer with them." The elders were speechless. No one knew what to do. The walls of the past were cracking. The stories were falling apart. And in the human camp, the machines kept working. The lights kept glowing. The drones flew silently. The humans said nothing, but they were watching, and they were waiting, just like everyone else. Because now, the question was no longer, are they monsters? Now, the question was, are we brave enough to find out the truth? Asterisk. The wind carried strange sounds that night. It wasn't the buzz of machines or the hum of drones. It was something deeper, a feeling, a pressure in the air, as if the planet itself was holding its breath. The alien children had returned to the human camp. This time, their parents didn't stop them, not because they weren't afraid, but because something inside them had changed. They watched from the hills, from the trees, from behind broken fences, eyes wide, hands shaking, waiting for something, a sign, a word, a mistake. But nothing came. The children were welcomed, not with smiles, not with loud voices, but with warmth, blankets, food, clean water, and silence. A respectful, calm silence. One by one, the children lay down inside the strange shelters. The air was filtered. The floor was soft. Their eyes slowly closed, and for the first time in weeks, they slept without fear. But not everyone in the alien village was happy far beneath the village. In old stone tunnels that hadn't been touched. In generations, a small group gathered. Shadows moved along the walls. Faces hidden under dark hoods. They were not leaders. They were not soldiers. They were something older, keepers of the ancient fear. They called themselves the root of silence. To them, the humans were not a threat. They were a poison. Slow, clever, patient. A poison that would kill tradition, rewrite the old truths, erase the warnings of the ancestors, and poison must be burned. They had watched long enough. Now they would act. That same night, a small signal was sent through the tunnels, a pulse of energy hidden inside the ground. The signal activated something buried beneath the soil. Something old, forgotten, dangerous, a black orb. Round, smooth, old. It woke up. It began to spin. It remembered its purpose, and it began to count down. Above. Life went on. The humans worked. The children played. The village was quiet. But the orb below was ticking. 60 hours. That's how long they had. And no one knew it. The next morning, the sky turned strange. A line of clouds cut through the sky, like a scar. The air smelled different, bitter and sharp. The animals ran to the hills. The river slowed. One of the human drones picked up the change. First. Radiation. Not from above. From below. The humans didn't panic. They ran scans, took samples, sent tiny robots into the soil. Then they found it, the black orb, spinning deep beneath the village. They didn't know what it was, but they knew it was a bomb and it wasn't human-made. They had seen designs like this before, on other planets, on ruined worlds. They called it a planet bleeder, a device that doesn't explode with fire, but with silence. It spreads a soundless pulse deep under the ground. It cracks rock, breaks core lines, rips the world apart from inside. Once it starts, nothing can stop it, except one thing, the shutdown code. But that code wasn't in any human system. It had to come from the ones who buried it. The humans sent a message to the village. There's a device below your home. It will destroy everything. We can stop it, but we need your help. The village council was stunned. They didn't believe it. Not at first, and until the ground started to hum. Just a little, but enough to feel in your bones. The elders gathered in silence. Their faces pale, their hands cold. One of them whispered, "There were rumors. That during the last war, a backup weapon was placed beneath us in case the humans ever returned." Another elder asked, "Why was it never removed?" The answer came from a voice none of them expected, the youngest among them. The one who had lost his sister to a sickness the humans had cured. He said, because no one ever thought they'd come back to help. Now they had a choice. Either give the humans access to the old command codes, or watch the world die. But the root of silence had already made their move. They had sealed the tunnels, killed. The engineers. Burned the maps. They didn't want the device stopped. They wanted the planet to die as proof that humans bring only destruction. As the hours ticked down, the humans worked faster. They began to drill from their side deep into the ground, trying to reach the core chamber. But it was too slow. The bomb was speeding up. The air was shaking now. The plants were dying. The lakes were cracking. The human lights turned red. 20 hours left. The alien villagers finally acted. Young and old, farmers, teachers, even the guards. They stormed the tunnels, fought the root of silence with sticks, stones, and bare hands. They forced open the sealed doors. They reached the chamber, but the codes were gone. Dot burned. Dot the humans sent one last request. If we can't shut it down, we can take it. The meaning was clear. They had one final option. Dot put the bomb inside one of their ships and launch it into space. Dot, but it would be a one-way trip. The pilot would not. Return. Dot, no one volunteered. Dot, not at first. Dot, then a figure stepped forward. Dot, tall. Dot, a human. He typed something into a device. The message appeared on a screen. Your children are worth dying for. The aliens watched in silence. The ship was prepped. Dot, the bomb loaded. Dot, the launch began. And for a moment, time stopped. The sky flashed. Dot, the ship vanished into the stars. And the world was quiet again. Later that night, a new light appeared over the village. A signal from space. Dot, it. You are safe. No one slept, because no one had words. Dot, only tears. And a single truth burned in every heart. The monster gave his life, so their children could live. The sky never looked the same after that day. For the first time in living memory, the stars were silent. Dot, no more drones buzzing in the sky. Dot, no more glowing ships. Above the hills, the humans were gone. They had left behind only ruins of their camp. Strange machines still humming quietly. Screens that no longer blinked. Lights that dimmed slowly with each passing night. And one signal, a small, steady light, deep blue, at the edge of the forest. Dot, it blinked once every 5 seconds. And it never stopped. The villagers gathered near it every morning. Some believed it was a beacon. Others thought it was a message. A few believed it was a grave. They didn't know that inside the core of that beacon was the memory of a human who had flown the bomb into space. Dot, his heartbeat, his final breath, his last thoughts, turned into a light. Dot, no one could read it, but everyone could feel it, especially the children. They were different now, not just because they had spent time in the human camp, not just because they had eaten strange food or slept under clean air. Dot, no, something inside them had changed. They asked questions the elders couldn't answer. They spoke words that felt too large for their age. One child looked at the sky and said, maybe they weren't just saving us. Maybe they were saving something bigger. Another replied, like what? The first child pointed upward, the future. The adults didn't understand, but they listened. For once, they really listened. Dot, days passed, then weeks. Dot, and then something impossible happened. The machines the humans left behind began to wake up. Dot, one by one, a light here, a spark there. Dot, then a voice. Dot, it came from the sky, from a satellite that had been floating above them, silent and still. Now it spoke. Protocol 5 activated. Initiating planet support phase. The message repeated. Dot, no one understood what it meant. Not at first. Dot, but then. The machines began to move. They crawled through the soil, digging new channels. They cleaned rivers, filtered air, removed poisons that had been in the ground for centuries. One tower unfolded like a flower and began to send warmth into the coldest valley. Melting frost that had never vanished before. Dot, another machine grew crops, faster than anyone had seen. The humans hadn't just left technology. They had left life. They had come, not to conquer, not to rule, but to prepare for something bigger. Dot, the skies started changing again. But this time, not because of war. Dot, something was coming. Something large, invisible to the eye, but present in the stars. Dot, the machines tracked it. The satellites saw it. Dot, it was like a wave, not water, but darkness. Dot, the same cosmic storm that had killed other worlds. The same one the humans had warned about. Now it was almost here, and the humans had left just enough behind to protect this one. Small world. Dot, but not enough to stop it alone. The beacon blinked. Faster. Dot, once every 2 seconds, then every second. A countdown. But to what? The children said it first. They're coming back. The elders didn't believe it. Why would they return? But deep in the forest, something opened. A long line in the air, like a tear in the sky. Out of it came a whisper, not a sound, but a pressure, like breath. And then a ship. Dot, not large. Dot, not armed. Just a single, small craft. Sleek. Silver. Dot, it landed in the same place the first human had touched down. The villagers ran. Dot, summoned fear. Summon hope. The door opened. And what came out was not a soldier, not a machine, not even a full-grown human. It was a child, small, quiet, alone, eyes wide, skin pale, hair like moonlight. It held a small box in its hands. Blinking softly, the alien children stepped forward. The human child looked at them. No fear. No confusion. Only recognition. Like they already knew each other. Then the box opened, and a voice came out, not loud. Not angry. Just soft and calm. We didn't forget you. It was the voice of the one who had sacrificed himself, recorded before the launch. He had left a message not for adults, but for the children, for the future. He spoke of a plan of many worlds in danger, of places that needed help, but also people willing to accept it. He spoke of trust, of pain, of the terrible price of peace. And then he said something that would never be forgotten. If you can raise your children without fear, maybe they will raise a better world than we ever could. The box closed. Silence again. Until the sky cracked. More ships. Dozens. Hundreds. Not warships. Builders. Healers. Greenhouses. Flying through space. They had come not to save a world, but to share it. And for the first time, the aliens stepped forward. Without weapons. Without shields. Without old stories. They stepped forward as people ready to learn. The future had begun, and this time, it would be built by hands of two kinds, human and alien, together. The ships kept arriving. They came through silent tears in the sky, long silver vessels that floated like feathers but moved with purpose. They carried machines, food, seeds, maps, tools, and people. Not warriors, not rulers, but workers. Teachers. Healers. They didn't bring orders. They brought questions. How can we help? What do you need? What have you lost? It confused the elders. It confused the warriors. But the children, they understood. They had felt this kindness before when they had been sick, cold, and scared. So the humans and aliens worked side by side, stone by stone. They rebuilt what had been broken. The rivers flowed clear again. Fields grew green and tall. And for the first time, both species laughed together under the same sun. But peace has a strange heartbeat. Sometimes it's too quiet. Too calm. Like the world is holding something back, something waiting beneath the surface. And that something was listening. Far below the ground, deeper than even the oldest tunnels. Something ancient began to stir. Had been asleep for hundreds of years. Not dead. Just waiting. It was not made of metal. It was not a machine. It was something older. Older than the war. Older than the first stories. A living mind. It had no body. Just thought. It called itself the Witness. Long ago, it had watched the humans destroy their enemies with fire from the sky. It had felt their power, their anger, their cold logic. It had stored that fear in its core. It had whispered to leaders. It had planted doubt in the hearts of warriors. And now, it awoke to find peace. Humans and aliens working together. Children smiling. Weapons rusting. The Witness hated peace. Because peace made people forget. Forget the danger. Forget the past. So it decided to remind them. It sent a pulse through the soil. Soft. Slow. Like a heartbeat. Machines stopped working. Fields turned gray. The air grew thick. The skies darkened. The humans thought it was a glitch, but it wasn't. It was a warning. Witness rose through the cracks of the deepest mountain. Not with fire, not with light, but with memory. It showed visions to those who slept. Dreams of burning cities. Of screaming skies. Of humans with red eyes and metal hands. The children woke up crying. The elders felt fear again. Some even began whispering the old words. The monsters are back. In secret, a small group of aliens began to gather. The same kind of group that had once buried the bomb. The ones who never wanted peace. Now, they were listening to the voice beneath the ground. The voice that said, they will take everything. Unless you strike first. And just like before, fear began to spread. But this time, it was different because the children spoke up. They told the others about the voice in their dreams. about the images, about the lies, and one of the human machines. Small, damaged, but still working, caught the pulse in the soil. It tracked it, analyzed it, and found something chilling. The witness wasn't alien. It was made by humans. A forgotten experiment. Last resort defense system buried during the First War. And learned one lesson: peace's weakness. Now it wanted to finish what it started by breaking trust, turning friends into enemies, and pushing both sides back into war. The humans shared this truth with the alien council. They didn't hide it. They stood in the village, square, and said, "This monster is ours, and we will stop it." They could have destroyed the witness with force, but they didn't. Instead, they offered something unexpected: a link. They built a bridge, not of stone, but of thought, a machine that allowed one alien child and one human child to go inside the witness's mind, not to fight it, but to show it, what the world had become, what peace looked like, what love looked like, what life could be. When fear was no longer in control, the two children stepped into the machine. Everyone held their breath. For hours, nothing happened. Then the mountain shook. A scream echoed through the air. Not sound, but pure thought. And then silence. The ground split open. A soft light rose from the earth, like a tear falling upward, and the witness spoke not in words, but in a single feeling: I was wrong. It crumbled. Gone. The darkness lifted. The machines healed. The skies cleared. Peace returned. Not weak. Not false, but earned. This time. No one cheered. They simply stood together, hands held, eyes forward, because they understood something deeper now. Peace is not given. It's chosen. And some monsters can change, even the ones inside us. Many seasons passed. The grass grew tall over the broken. Machines. The forest returned where metal once ruled. The sky was clean again. The humans didn't live in camps anymore. They lived with the aliens, in shared homes, and shared villages. As part of one people, there were no more lines between them. The children spoke two languages. But their hearts spoke one. Peace had come. Real peace. But deep in the cold part of space, something else had been watching. It had no name. No planet. No face. Only hunger. A silence that moved between stars. Long ago, it had swallowed entire solar systems. Not with war, but with forgetting. It would arrive quietly, whisper to minds, make them forget why they trusted. Forget why they built together. Forget why they lived. And when all that remained was doubt and fear, it would consume. Now, it turned toward the planet of humans and aliens. It came faster than light. Its shadow fell across moons. The stars blinked. And then it arrived. Not as ships, not as fire, but as a storm of memory. Lost. People forgot what day it was. Then they forgot each other. Then they forgot themselves. Mothers looked at children and felt nothing. Fathers walked into forests and never came back. Machines broke. Language collapsed. Even the children, the ones born in peace, began to forget what peace meant. The humans knew this enemy. They had seen it on other worlds. They called it the fate. And they had one last weapon against it. Not bombs. Not ships, but stories. The humans gathered the children, alien and human, and told them everything, even as the Fade tried to erase. They carved words into stone, etched pictures into metal. Told tales by firelight. Every night. About monsters who became heroes, about bombs turned into stars, about hands once closed now open. And most of all, about a choice. The choice to remember. The Fade hated memory. So the people sang louder. They painted walls, wrote in the dirt. Cried when they had to, laughed when they could. The Fade pushed harder, but it could not kill what was told. From one heart to another. One night, the sky cracked. A signal pulsed from deep underground. The same beacon the first human had left behind. It flashed faster than before. Then it exploded upward, sending a wave of light memory across the land. Images returned to every mind. First handshake. The sacrifice in the sky. The human child landing alone. The moment the witness wept. The Fade screamed, but silently. like wind leaving a dead world. Dot, and then it was gone, burned out by truth, remembered. Afterward, nothing was the same. Dot, time passed. New cities rose, half metal, half tree, but children grew into leaders. Some traveled to stars, others stayed to teach. The humans never tried to rule. They didn't build empires. They built bridges, not just of stone, but of trust. Dot, and in the deepest part of the library, far below the ground, sat a book. Its cover was made of a strange black stone. Its pages shimmered with living memory. Dot, no one wrote in it. The book wrote itself. Each time someone did something brave. Dot, or painful, but necessary. Dot, the book added a page. Dot, no names. Dot, no titles. Just moments. Moments that mattered. One page glowed more than the rest. Dot, it showed a single sentence. They thought humans were monsters until they saved their children. 100 years later, a traveler arrived from another star. His planet had been lost, his people scattered. He was afraid of humans. He had heard the old stories: fire, thunder, ruin. But when he stepped onto the soft green world, he didn't see soldiers. He saw children. Flying kites. He saw two species living as one. He saw old machines covered in vines, still humming with light. And a voice greeted him from a speaker hidden in a tree. Dot, it said, "You are not alone. You are safe. You are remembered." The traveler fell to his knees. He wept. Dot, because for the first time in his life he knew he had reached the one place in the galaxy where monsters had become hope. Dot, and hope had become home.